Stonewall Housing. And just to give you a little introduction to us, we work with LGBTQ+ people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. And our job is to help them find somewhere safe to live. And Jordan, who was just fantastic tonight and who wrote this performance, has been one of our supporters for many years now, and I'm just thrilled that he invited us along to talk to everybody today. So look, will you please join me in giving a massive round of applause to welcome Jordan to the stage.
Did you enjoy the show?
Yeah!
So, thank you everybody for coming. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little chat about some of the themes in the play, and we're hopefully going to have some time for questions from you as well, so have a wee think about any questions that you have. But I wanted to start really, first of all, by saying congratulations. What an incredible show, and thank you for it as well. Like it's perfect, you know, in terms of speaking to your audience. You took us back in time, and the themes that we saw are very hard-hitting and quite difficult themes, but it also feels very relevant to today. Like here we are, 2026 at Stonewall Housing. Every single day, we see kids who are discriminated against, ostracized by their families, kicked out of home, and abandoned because they're gay. Tell us about the story. Where did this story come from for you, and how come you decided to tell it now? Like, tell us about your thinking.
Yeah. So basically, I found this article in the Bristol Museum around 4 years ago now. I was looking for something to write, and I knew I wanted to write a queer story because it's never really been something that I've been able to explore in my work that I've done as an actor. And so I went to the Bristol Museum. My husband is from Bristol, so I spent a lot of time there. And I asked the lady if she had any queer stories from history, and she said, we actually found this article just a few days ago. So it was very like kismet. It was like I was supposed to come in that week. And she brought me this article, and it detailed essentially that last scene that you saw, with the two men stood at the gallows, and how they refused to apologize for what they had done, as they no longer saw it as sinful. Those words are all pretty much verbatim from the records I found of how he stands before you proudly, willing to accept his fate and all of that. And then Richard took William's hand and kissed it. And that, like when I read that, like just imagining the strength you would have had to have in 1752 to stand in front of hundreds of people on the gallows, and just that act of defiance, it just really moved me when I read it. And it said that they were then launched into eternity, and there's also such beauty in that phrase as well. And so that was really the spark of the whole thing. And I went home and I just started writing some songs and developed it over the course of the next 3.5, 4 years. Went through various workshop stages of it. And then here we are now, and it's just like you said, it feels, I mean, the story happened 270 years ago, but it is still so relevant today, and I think that's exactly when I was thinking of how to finish the show, how to wrap it up. The only possible way is to give those facts right at the end, where the actors break character and they return to themselves, just to really hit home like how this is still happening in 12 countries where it's still legal to be gay, punishable by death to be gay, another, I think, 63 countries where it's still illegal to be gay, and even, like you said, right here on our own soil, there are still so many issues that we face as a community, and there are so many legislations that are constantly being reversed all around the world, and yeah, it feels like it's an extremely relevant time to tell this story, and it's something that I was battling with during the process of writing it, is whether people would feel like it is an important story to tell today, or whether it's a dated story. And I think the reaction has really proven that like people need to learn about this piece of history. Yeah.
I think for me, it's the themes that came through. So it may not be that we're living in the same time, but the themes are the same. The things that we experience as queer people, they experienced back then. I think one of the things the play did really well was demonstrate love between two men rather than, this act of sodomy that was punishable by death. But we really saw the love between the two characters on stage. Was that something that was really important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. My driving force was to make sure that I humanized these two men because they were so dehumanized in their lives and by society. I wanted to give this 2.5 hours to really just shine a light on them as people and their relationship and their love. And in the witness statement, which I found in the museum, which John Babber, the man that spotted them together, he described the act that he had witnessed. He described that he saw them undressing, that he saw them kissing, and then at the end of the statement, he described how they spent time with each other, holding each other, and I can't remember the exact words, but it was as though there was, he described love, he described that there was a love between these two men, and I think reading that in a statement from 270 years ago, that's really interesting, because why did he write that? He didn't have to write that, he could have just purely put it down to this heinous act that he witnessed, but it was clearly so evident that these two men were in love with each other. So it was very important to me that that was the driving force, and in the ending with the execution, it was also so important to me that I made that a really beautiful, empowering moment of them choosing their destiny and it not be this kind of graphic, harrowing noose comes down from the ceiling kind of situation, because that would just completely undo the whole relationship that we've built throughout the show. So yeah, it was extremely important to me to humanize these men, yeah.
And that kiss on the hand that we saw, it was just perfect. It was a perfect way of doing that. I'm thinking about the process of developing this. So it was workshop for a while, and the rehearsals, I can imagine, kind of really helped to shape what the play became. But I'm also really interested in the people. Like, you're a queer person, some of the other cast members, I'm sure, have experience of the LGBTQ plus world. What was it like for you as cast and crew to really deal with these very difficult and emotional kind of issues, and how important was it that you did that in a really honest and kind way?
Yeah, we've been so blessed with the cast that we've got in this show and the creatives across the board. Everybody is so open as people. So the rehearsal space, there was always just such a warmth and a loving environment from the first day. And that's massive props to our amazing director, Paul Foster. I don't know if he's still here. He was in tonight, he's probably having a drink at the bar. But yeah, he just set the tone of the room, and everybody was free to explore, and we very much laid out from the beginning if anyone had any issues with the themes, that we were always here to talk about them, and everybody just approached the text and the piece with such sensitivity and cared so deeply about the material before we had even started. Because I sent the script and the songs out well in advance, and the messages I had from everybody was just, my God, I can't wait to get started on this, this is so important. And I really felt that, from the first day, everyone was just there with us and in, and yeah, the themes are quite dark and heavy. There was a lot of tears in the rehearsal room, but it's also kind of this strange kind of catharsis, kind of like a therapy session where you come into work and you explore these things and you cry and you feel for the people that have lived this experience and still are today, and then somehow you leave feeling slightly lighter as well in a way. It's important to talk about these issues. So yeah, it was a tough rehearsal process, but it was also just really enjoyable, and everybody just really treated it with so much respect that it needed.
I want to ask, I've got another couple of questions, but I want to check in the audience if you've got questions as well. I want to ask, does it get easier, like tonight's performance, was that easier than the first one to deal with the emotions in it? And the other thing that, look, the cast are incredible. Like, the performances were amazing, but it really feels like it's an ensemble cast and that everybody is really supporting each other. Does it feel like that behind the scenes as well?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's truly as a family, as cheesy as that sounds. Like, everybody we care about each other so much. It's been the most joyful experience. And backstage, everybody just loves each other. We're all bereft that it's finishing in 2 days. Honestly, it's really, that's tough. But to answer your question about does it get easier? No. It doesn't, and that's because you have to allow yourself to go to that emotional place, otherwise it just doesn't read, I think. There's no way of kind of marking the emotion or holding back in any way. You have to really like live the experience, and so it is quite, it's hard, like, I'm very emotional every night, I cry so much throughout the show, and but then I leave, and like I kind of mentioned about the rehearsals, I leave feeling a lightness in a way, because I'm so pleased and grateful that we've been given this opportunity to tell these people's story and to enlighten people about it. And so yeah, as heavy as it is, it's also extremely just overwhelmingly joyous as well, yeah.
Okay, let's see if anybody else has a question. Whoever's helping with time, please leave enough time for me to ask one more question before we have to wrap up. Shall I come to you?
Thank you. I just loved it. It was fabulous. Did you think that Richard's actions condemned or saved William?
No, God, that's such a deep question. I mean, if Richard hadn't taken William to the cave that night, and if they didn't have that moment, then who knows? Would William have lived his whole life just never having experienced love and joy, or would it perhaps have happened down the line with somebody else? We'll never know. But I think my instinct is that I think his actions saved William, because it allowed him to find his strength. And I think kind of can see throughout the show how William starts as kind of this very nervous wreck of a person, and then finds his strength through just that relationship with Richard. And like that song in the prison cell, "I Am Found," he's in this cage, but he's the most open he's ever felt in his life, and I think he wouldn't have experienced that if he hadn't gone through what that happened that night. So I like to think that it saved him, and I like to think that historically, because they both stood up there and refused to apologize, there was a reason that they did that. They could have so easily have repented and then potentially be given a prison sentence, but they were clearly so at peace with their decision and with each other. So I would like to say that it saved him.
Thank you for that question. And I noticed your accent as well, and I want to know where you're from.
Hi, hello. First of all, thank you for this beautiful work. And thank you to the universe for inspiring your beautiful work. This is actually my third time to see the show. And I've always been the same time. That's similar as how I meet with the first. I've never got a chance to talk to you because I couldn't bring myself to talk to you because I weep. I weep from here to Waterloo Station. And actually, this is quite very much related to that question. Like every night, and you've done this for almost a couple of, for so long now, and like people's like at least my reaction has always been real, especially at the end. I don't know if the lady next to me could hear me, like as if my mother died or something. I was like that kind of emotion, and like every night you get that at the end of the day you're all actors. You go home, it's another day in the office. But the reality is the people in the room are reacting based on their own personal packages and personal emotions. And I just wonder, first of all, how do you brush it off? Second, what do you make of that real emotion, even in this make-believe world?
Wow.
Great question.
A great question. I don't brush it off, is the truth. Like, the reaction has been so unbelievably overwhelming, and as I said, I've been living with this story for nearly 4 years alone. So it's been a very lonely experience writing it and bouncing it off of friends and sending them things and listening to their response. But I've kind of gone through this process of which I guess the audience are going through in real time as you're sitting there and you're watching it and you're reacting. I've had those reactions daily for years, so it's been like this very long process of me just feeling just overwhelmed with emotion for a long time and hoping that it would have that effect on people. And the fact that it is just, it's not lost on me at all. I feel like it's a very, sorry, it sounds really cringy, but I feel like it's a very like spiritual experience being in a room like this and feeling that energy with other people we're all just sat here watching a piece of work on a wooden stage with some actors, and it has that guttural response every night. People are bereft in the bar crying to me, and it's amazing. And it's not. And people always say to me, when they're crying to me, they always say, "I'm so sorry. I know you probably hear this a million times, and you just want to go home." No, I don't. Like, it's not lost on me how it's more than I could have hoped and dreamed for. Is to make people cry. I don't know that. But yes, so it's absolutely not lost on, it's absolutely not something that I shake off. I'm so, alive with the feeling of it, but also at the same time, for mental health, you have to go home and put Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on and sit there and try and switch my brain off for an hour before I go to bed. But no, it's been totally all-encompassing, this experience, and I don't quite know how I'm going to adjust to real life next week. But hopefully it's not the end for REDCLIFFE.
Frankie, can I please take one more question, then my question?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay with you as well, Jordan. We have a question?
Hiya, it's sort of related to what you just said actually, and it was a question about the structure of the show. The first half was markedly different from the second, and I wondered how conscious the decision was to kind of build up with the humour and everything like that to make the second half hit harder. How much thought kind of went into that? It's cruel, you said all the time, can we just go up now? It's just too much.
Yeah, that was a very conscious decision. I've obviously seen a lot of theatre over the years, and the theatre for me that I've kind of left maybe feeling slightly cold and not moved by is the theatre that doesn't have much comedy in it. And I think the only way to allow an audience to fall in love with characters is for them to fall in love with them through their humour, and like it just makes you instantly root for somebody, I think. And so it was a very conscious decision that the first act would be as light as I could possibly make it, whilst also reminding people of the threat of society, just with the little things like the news at the beginning, the references in the newspapers, and just the constant little thing that's tinkling there so you know it's potentially not going to end well. But you suspend your disbelief for a moment because you just swept up in the joy of this family and the mother, and so yeah, it was a very conscious decision, and people have described the show as being a show of two halves, you know, like. But hopefully, I've also, which the biggest challenge was to try and still sprinkle some comedy in the second act as well. There's obviously nowhere near as much, and there would never be able to be. But it was important that now and again you have a little bit of lightness in there as well. So yeah, it was very conscious. Yeah, just because, like I said, I think it's the only way that you can really break somebody's heart is to make them fall in love with these people. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, really lovely question. Okay, so we're coming to the end, and I would encourage people to keep talking about this performance, keep talking about this play, and tell people about it. Only a couple of performances left in this space. Now, we were talking in our row about it feels perfect in this space, you know, like it's an excellent space for the performance. I can also see it on other stages. And so I want to know, like, what are the plans? What are you thinking? What are you looking for in terms of next steps?
That is the number one question. I mean, I'm pretty sure that this won't be the end of the show. That's right. I'm pretty certain of that. I guess we're just solidifying some things at the moment, and oh my god, I'm going to get so tired of for saying that. Nothing is absolutely set in stone yet, but I know that we are having conversations about what to do with it next, where to take it. I think we would certainly upscale it from, and this has been the most perfect venue for it to begin at. I just love this space, the intimacy of it, and it's something that we always want to keep with us for future productions, is that intimacy. So it's about finding the right theatre that allows us to enhance the production in terms of the audience size and the set design, all of that, whilst maintaining that intimacy. So I don't have any firm news right now, but I'm very confident that it will happen and that we will have some news soon. Very soon.
Can all of you be my witness, please? Will you invite me to come and see it?
You're very impressed now.
Yes, exactly. Can I please ask everybody to join me in saying thank you to Jordan? What an amazing piece of theatre, and I feel so privileged to have been able to see it tonight and to be invited by you to come and do this Q&A afterwards. I also want to say thank you for everything that you do for Stonewall Housing and the people that we help. It's incredible the work that you do, not just in terms of telling these stories, but making a real difference to people now in 2026. So thank you. Thank you.